Welcome to Fireside Forge. I'm your host Citrin, the Armored Sloth, and here with me today we have Jammany Dodger, Tangle, and Crankycorvid, otherwise known as Yonder, with me on the podcast today. The topic for today is the vision behind the studio and why people joined. Tangle, if you'd like to start us off, we can get things on the road.
Cool. So I am the founder of Thornforge Studios, as some of you may or may not know, and I wanted to talk a little bit about the goals for the studio because I feel like I also haven't really talked about that from a creative standpoint. But I think I mentioned in the last podcast that like my inspirations were like a lot of DreamWorks films and basically just any and Your Name and Weathering with You. But the things that I really liked the most as a child are a lot of movies that tried to push the envelope as far as like what kids movies could show, as far as like emotional depth and like the complexity of topics. And I feel like in America we don't really have a market for animation that isn't like I feel like in America we have two options. You have like kids shows and then you have like Family Guy, and there's really nothing in between that, you know? Cuz like Americans don't really treat animation as a medium, they treat it as a genre. When you can honestly really tell whatever kind of story you want with animation. It doesn't really have to be for kids and it doesn't have to be crude, but I would really love to tell stories that aren't unnecessarily crude but aren't necessarily aimed for children as well. I know a lot of people in my generation have also grown up watching cartoons, and I think as you mature as an adult, you want to see more stuff that, you know, is more relatable to adults. And I think like another goal of the studio, at least for a lot of the stuff that I personally am going to create, like stuff that we're going to use that are my personal ideas, I really want to like challenge I guess like the cultural Christian perception in media, because I feel like a lot of the time, and I think these are well-meaning people, like I'm not trying to put anyone down by saying this, so please do not interpret it that way, but I feel like a lot of Christian media is very sanitized and like I kind of just yeah, besides VeggieTales, me and my homies love VeggieTales, but other than that, like it's very cringy and sanitized, and I think it does a disservice to everyone because it portrays Christianity as something that it really isn't. Like, it's not something that is happy-go-lucky and unrealistic and childish. It's something that is rough and difficult and, like, I don't want to say dirty because that has, like, connotations, but it's not this neat little box of, like, go to church and be good and you'll be fine. Like, it's so much more than that, and I would love to challenge that perception that it has, not only for people who aren't Christian, but for people who are Christian as well, because I feel like Christian creatives are too afraid to make good art, I guess, because it's like, well, if I put blood in this, then, you know, that's what the pagans do.
They just straight up just don't have a love for film. Like I'm sorry, but like they have this idea that, if I may interject real quick.
Yeah, no, sure, go off, man.
Is like, well, hold on. I'm going off on 50 different tangents and I'm already losing myself. Gosh, off to a great start here.
Yeah.
I just get fired up because this makes me so mad. It's like, I've been going to college for this for like almost 7 years now. I'm graduating like this May or whatever. And it's like the people who go into this, are basically people who are like, oh, you know, if I go and just tell this story, just the fact that I'm doing it for God will take care of everything else. And I'm like, yes, on one hand, when you are doing something to glorify God, to obey God, then yeah, he's going to use it how he's going to use it. But still, if you go into, you know, animation and film with no love for animation, not studying the medium, not looking into how you can use it to its greatest extent, you get what was that freaking the Glorbish stop thing that was like the big fleshy?
Oh, the Gobgo Gobgo. There you go.
That's what you get.
Oh, Bible man.
When you get like,
bless his heart.
You get like zero film passion. You just go like, oh, it doesn't matter that the story is cringe, that the character designs look bad, that the dialogue is unrealistic, that there's no love for cinematography, and literally it could be the most boring pile of slop. Meanwhile, you have like media. It's not like quote unquote Christian media. It's more like heritage kind of stuff. You get like Prince of Egypt,
yeah.
And there's the love of film, the love of music, the voice actors, the sets. It's just, good lord. Like if you do not have a passion for film, don't do film. Easy as that. There's so many other ministries you can go into that don't require going into film. Just be honest with yourself. That's it.
I just want to point out to everyone who might be listening that Yonder said that she had nothing to contribute, and here she is going off. Just wanted to point that out to everybody.
Also, thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to put a picture of the Globgo Gobgalob in this, because I don't know how I was going to fit him in there, but you found a way.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with Yonder, though. It's...
I'm sorry. Oh gosh, I cannot wait to see this.
You really did work yourself up, didn't you?
The sprites on this are gonna be amazing. Okay.
But yeah, no,
okay, I'm cool enough.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think going off of what Yonder said, I think that's really true. I think in a way we kind of do a disservice to God when we don't make good media that not only is just good for the sake of like being good, but good that honors him. Like, I think it just, I don't know, it just kind of sucks. Like, I don't even know how to explain it. It's just like, this is not what, it could be so much more than it is, and God gave us the arts to like, to glorify him, and just making something that's good is glorifying to him, I think. Like, I just, also, it's just, I feel like I don't know how to explain what I'm trying to say. I feel like when we only do stories that are like light and happy, we don't really explore what Christianity actually has to offer people, because like, of course there are going to be light and happy times, and God loves to give gifts to his children, but there are also very difficult things that you have to wrestle with, like thinking about, I don't know, I'm thinking about Jacob in the wilderness, like wrestling with God, but like crap like that is what is different about Christianity than other religions. It doesn't give you a way out of suffering, but it gives you a way to walk through it and know that you will still be okay when you're at the end of it, regardless of what you lose and what you go through, which I think is a much more valuable lesson to offer people, as far as like what part of, even, it's not even the whole of what Jesus can provide, but like as an important part of what Jesus provides, like when you step out in faith, I guess. And I feel like I want to see grittier and like more realistic portrayals of life in a Christian worldview still. And I think a lot of the things that I make will hopefully challenge people who do and don't believe to see things a little bit differently, or to reconsider things that they haven't really considered before. And of course, the studio is not going to be just that. Like, we're going to make all kinds of stories. Some of them are going to be lighthearted. Some of them aren't going to be. Some of them are going to be more quote unquote Christian than others. But I want it to be good storytelling, regardless of what, you know, what the goal, the tertiary goal might be. But that's pretty much the goal of the studio is that, I think. Yeah. So
I was gonna say, if I can go off on a quick tangent here, a less ranty one.
yeah, go ahead.
Going into the whole, trying to tell good storytelling, because you're mentioning, like, some stories might be more Christian than others, some might not be as much so. I think that we put out too much stock into how quote unquote Christian the stories are, because people think like, oh, is God in it? Is there an angel? Is there a church? Is there a cross? When you could have like, a story that has all those elements and has the terrible storytelling. I was actually having a conversation with someone earlier today talking about, like, as Christians, should we be watching, I think it was Avatar: The Last Airbender, that's what it was. And I was mentioning, this because, they mentioned, like, the show has, like, iconography and, like, and different motifs from different religions and whatnot that might not be Christianity. And the story itself is actually pretty dang good. Like, spoiler alert for a series that finished, like, 8 years ago, I don't even know.
Yeah, if you didn't see it, that's your problem at this point.
If you haven't seen it by now, that's on you.
So like at the end of the series, Aang is wrestling with, I don't want to have to kill Ozai because of my convictions, because of my beliefs, and everyone's basically telling him, you don't have a choice, you're going to have to compromise yourself in order to get the second time. And Aang doesn't do that. He finds a way to, solve this problem while also not breaking his conviction at all. And I think that's so much more powerful for Christians to absorb, I mean, for anyone to absorb, really, than, like, half of the Christian media out there. And I think that's what we really need to think about, is not just the surface level stuff, but where the character arcs go, where the storytelling goes. Like, that's really the meat of it. Yeah, that's kind of what I wanted to go off on.
No, I think that's a really good point. And actually, that reminds me of a conversation I had with an older woman from my church, and she was basically, I think she was quoting C.S. Lewis. I don't remember the exact quote, but she was basically saying to me that, like, your worldview will come out in whatever story you decide to tell, whether you explicitly mean for it to or not. And I think and when I say Christian, I mean not like slapping a label over it, but like, am I explicitly trying to say something about my worldview in this work, like on purpose, rather than it necessarily just being because it just flows out of me. Like, I think some of my stories will be more, it's just like who I am leaking out into the story, and some of it will be more intentionally trying to say something. But that's what I mean when I say Christian. I don't mean like there will be God or angels or whatever. Even though there might be those things, I don't know. It depends on what serves the story best, I guess. But yeah, you make a good point that a lot of like secular media is better because they're not necessarily worried about adhering to a brand. They're just speaking about the truths that are there to them, which do coincide a lot of the times with things that we find in the Bible, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's a good point that I didn't even consider. But, yeah. It is really interesting because I do find a lot of stories that I feel like encompass Christian beliefs better than Christian media does.
Yeah.
Which is very interesting to me theologically because it makes sense, but
that might be a Western media phenomenon because, like, how do I explain this? Because we have the whole cultural Christianity thing a lot in America as opposed to like other parts of the world, not as much. That might be part of it.
Oh, I think what I was really getting at was like, I forget what the verse is, but it talks about how God has written his law in people's hearts, and I think everyone has a general sense of right and wrong. Like, the particulars might not be correct, but I think we all have a general sense of like what is true and what is good. It might not be perfect, but it's there. And I think when you see these stories from people who don't believe and they hit on these specific points that still apply to us as believers, I think that's like a demonstration of that. Because I've seen some of it even in Japanese media, so I'm like, I think it's just like I don't know. And I mean, like, cultural Christianity probably does play into it, at least a little bit, though. That's fair, too.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
So I know that we've gone over the what we're trying to do with the studio and like what's it called? Like the vision behind it, that kind of thing. We were also going to be discussing like why we joined the studio, right?
Yeah, sure.
I don't know who wanted to go into that first.
Well, I mean, you started it.
Yeah, you go
start
ahead.
it and I'll finish it. Gosh, okay. I just feel bad because I feel like I've been talking like 90% of the time here. So
no, that's good. We need more people besides me talking. That is good.
That's fair. So the reason why I kind of joined was a little different because I knew that I wouldn't be able to do a whole lot of like production work, at least until I graduate. So Tingle's like, "You're good at this. Help me give feedback and keep an eye on things." So I'm like, kind of mostly joined as more of a, I wouldn't say supervisor because that's more Phil's job and just kind of the manager's job. But
Yeah.
I mostly joined because Tangle's a good buddy of mine. Of course, I'm gonna want to help out with this, just to be able to give my intel and my I'm not gonna say expertise. That's not the right word, but my knowledge as someone who's been looking into the industry for quite a while to be able to just provide different opinions from my background, from what I've seen. But it is also nice that because I'm trying to think forward and looking forward to when I do graduate, like what am I going to do after this? Am I going to continue to pursue Thornforge, or rather not continue to, but pursue it more now that I have more time, that kind of thing. And I think that if I'm able to, between like I don't know, internships and all this other garbage going on, because post graduation crisis and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, it really do be like that.
I know that Thornforge, at least, I know I can come back to and say that this is a comfortable space where I can be surrounded by other Christian creators, and that to me is important because going to college and all that has been nice. I've been able to talk to people, to be able to learn and grow from them. but there's not as much of a familial community that I have with them in the same way that I do with people at Thornforge. Just because, my identity in Christ is such a huge aspect of who I am that it's only natural that I'm going to become closer to people that hold the same worldviews as me, the same religious views as me, etc. kind of thing. So it's just nice to be able to be in that kind of space. And then, of course, I do appreciate Tangle's vision of trying to create these stories that aren't super cutesy. Like, there's room for some cutesy in there. But if you guys know me, I'm like the, I chop this monster's head off, and I, put this trophy on the wall, and I collect bones. Like, I collect actual bones in real life. So, like, I'm not like other Christian girls, TM. But there's like, this is a space. Oh, I actually have a possum that's been sitting in a bucket outside that I need to clean before the semester starts.
Wow.
I just haven't gotten around to it, and it's gonna stink. Oh my word. But the point is, this is not only a spot where I feel that I can be myself, not only in a Christian aspect, but also just in my interests aspect. Some Christian circles are still very like, they're very cutesy. They're very like, very kind of child oriented, and that's not sorry, that's not inherently bad. It's just not my taste.
Yeah, me too.
I'm just very much like, I'm the person who's into, action, sci-fi, thriller, horror, all those kinds of things, much more on the grittier kind of adult oriented end of things, as far as like, subject matter and what they're willing to put into a story. That I feel like that, this studio is going to be an opportunity for me to kind of really use those muscles. So I don't have to hold myself back as much. And
yeah, I think that's like also a problem in the industry as a whole, is like for animation in the West, you really only have, at least in the US, you really only have like children's shows, or you have like Adult Swim. Like there's more now, because you have like Primal, you have like
Primal's so good. Oh my gosh, Primal's good.
You have Long Gone Gulch, but like for the most part, you either get child or you get like super like crude adult, and there's like nothing for people who don't really want either of those.
Yeah, that freaking sucks. Is like Japan has Weathering with
God,
You, the West has
anime
what, Steven
mains.
Universe?
Let's go. Except Japan.
Yeah, anime good.
I was gonna say Japan.
I mean, good anime.
And we gotta call them out on that, but
yeah, okay. Japan be like masterpiece that makes you question your existence, but then they also have like the 57th harem anime, and you're just like, why is this a thing? Why does this exist?
Studio Trigger, TM.
But
okay, you know what? Do not come for my boys at Studio Trigger.
Look, Studio Trigger redeemed themselves a brand new animal. I will respect them for that.
I sim Kisniver, TBH, but
okay, Kisniver, the Little Witch Academia shorts, and brand new animal. Like, oh lordy, I think I'm about to simp.
Okay, I'm going off on a tangent about Little Witch Academia, and Sid already knows what's coming.
Oh my god!
But the Little Witch Academia series is terrible. Like, and I will tell you, it's not like as a whole. The most terrible part of Little Witch Academia as the series, not the shorts, is Akko as a character. She's the most infuriating character that I've had the displeasure of having to be stuck with as the point of view for the series. I think she is terrible because she's stupid, and all the problems that happen in the show are because she's a freaking idiot. Like, make Amanda or Susie or Latte,
please
make them the main character, because she is not compelling or interesting as a main character. She is just a bone dead idiot, and it's so frustrating to freaking watch this amazing animation and these amazing side characters be wasted on trying to support her stupid behind on life support, and it's really just too much for me. So I will say that, but
now in defense of Little Witch Academia as an IP, if you're interested in it, watch the shorts.
You can stand her for the shorts because they're not that long.
I think I don't know if I can recommend the series to someone unless they watch the 2 shorts and they're like, I will literally die if I don't get more content, and be like, well, here you go. But like, The series is not very good compared to the shorts.
Yeah, no. Amanda's the best part of the series. I'm really just gonna, like, put that out there.
Susie Erasure.
I mean, she's also pretty funny. I love her, too. Also, the animation is really, like, it's so good.
It is.
But the story is kind of eh.
Well, that's kind of Studio Trigger. They have kind of okay stories, but the animation is top tier. Chef kiss.
Which is
So
frustrating.
you're not here for groundbreaking storytelling.
I just, like, I hate it. I hate the thing that animation has done, where it's like, the animation is like he who's shiny, and then the story is absolute garbage. Because I'm like, it's a medium. If you have failed to tell a good story, to me, it doesn't matter how good the visuals are. It's still bad. Like, you failed to do what you set out to accomplish.
Squints at Promare.
Okay, I can't understand what the frick is going on in Premiere, so I don't know if it's a good story or not, because I don't know what the frick is happening.
I haven't seen it yet. I don't spoil it for me.
Even if I say any spoilers, it won't make any sense. It doesn't matter because it doesn't make any sense.
As someone who has seen the movie and loves it, no spoilers. I'm not about to say anything to spoil the movie, but like, I literally don't know what happened. Like, if you ask me right now, like, oh, you saw it, what happened in it? I'd be like, I don't understand. I might have to watch it a second time. I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't know if I just like am stupid. I don't understand it. Like, I just didn't get it.
It's a very pretty movie. But, like, the amount of hype that I built up in my head for this movie, seeing the way people reacted to it, and then seeing the actual movie myself, I'm like, I don't know what happened. So, like, I really don't know. What I do know is, they are selling perfume based on the characters in Japan.
What?
And you can import it for, like, $50.
What?
And I would actually like to try it just to see. But, you know.
I don't know how to feel about that. Like,
yeah,
why
I'd
perfume?
really be like that. I don't know.
So you can
like
smell,
the bottles are stylized.
Like ashes? Like, what kind of scent would you market for that?
If I had my phone, I could tell you what they smelled like.
That's really odd to me. Like, that's very...
Where's my phone?
I mean, I guess that's fitting for the movie, but that's really odd to me. I don't know. I feel like
See if I can find it, because I had it bookmarked.
I feel like Promare was disappointing to me because looking at the trailers and stuff, I had an expectation that the story would be at least a little bit competent, and then it wasn't. So I feel like that was more of a letdown for me because I was expecting something else. But
it's like after a certain point, I was watching because I was like, he who gallo pretty, and that was it.
Simp. Anyway,
it's not my fault.
I think it would have done better as like a mini series, honestly, because I think one of the main, I'm gonna try not to spoil anything, but I think, speaking very generally, I think one of the main issues that didn't help the story was the pacing, because I barely had a chance to catch my breath and process information before they were moving on to the next thing. And like, it looked nice, but I was like, I don't really understand what just happened, and that's kind of a problem. So, you know.
Okay, I did find the sense, if you're actually curious as to what they smell like.
Yeah.
What does it smell like?
Okay, so it says, Gallo's scent is a powerful mix of lime, cloves, and amber. And it says, Leo's scent blends a lily of the valley and a gentle musk.
Huh.
It's really weird that they would even sell this, but I am curious.
Still do not... Okay, I looked into the whole musk thing a little while back, and it's apparently like something you get from deer, and it smells horrible. And to this day,
I'm not sure if that's what they're referring to.
Okay.
Here.
I was gonna be like, do you want to smell like deer?
Because like Leo is such a like feminine looking character. I don't think the scent of deer musk really makes sense with him. I don't know if they mean like when they say musk, are they talking about like natural man musk or what?
Natural man? I'm not gonna ask.
Think about someone who, I can't believe we're on this tangent right now. Someone who like doesn't smell like body wash, but also doesn't stink. Like they still have a smell. I wonder if it's that smell.
Okay. I'm just confused at this point. I'm like, okay.
I mean, I think musk can refer
I'm not gonna go around and verify this by walking up to some dude and
Really? You wouldn't do that?
No.
Well,
look, one of us has to take one for the team.
Gosh.
So I'll
you can't even like talk.
Well, none of us are dog
I don't
furries,
even
so
stop fronting.
Shut up. Leave me alone.
I think like musk can refer to deer musk, but I think it's also just like a general term for like a certain type of smell or whatever. Don't quote me on that because I don't know, but you know.
You know, this is gonna be the first thing I do when
Also,
quarantine
like,
is over, just so I can prove you wrong.
I think Promare, whatever, is really similar to.
I've been calling it
That's
Promare. It's
probably
probably Promare. Do not say what I know you're about to say because it's not the truth.
I think its themes and concepts are
Don't
similar
say
to
it.
Fire Force. They're not the
My
same.
God.
I didn't say that they were
They
the
are
same.
not the same. They are the only thing they have. The only thing they have in common is that they both have
No, because you have
firefighters.
like the sinister, like
people on
fire-based thing that nobody knows where it comes from. It has like a separation of like society based on like who can do the thing and who can't. Like there's like a.
Oh my God!
It's
I
the
can't
themes
believe...
and concepts are similar. They are not the same. I'm not saying that they are the same, but they are similar.
Okay, you know what? I can't argue with you right now because Jan is here, but later
Okay.
we're having a discussion.
All
because
right.
No.
Fine, I'm right though. Whatever.
Why are mom and dad fighting?
But no,
I get to
we
be
all know that
dead.
you're not. So let's stop playing.
Excuse you.
I can snipe you. Don't play with me. But anyway,
No, dude, shut up. If we both have to be parents to
But you
Jan,
wouldn't
I want to
be.
be the dad. That's all I'm saying.
I'm older
But I
than both
want
of
to
you, so
be.
shut up.
Good point. Good point.
but it's just to me, it's just weird that like you have Fire Force, which is like this thing based on like a fire thing, and then you have Promare, which is this thing based on a fire thing. Like I don't know, man. Conspiracy? I think not.
I mean, it's definitely odd timing.
Okay.
But, like, we're fighting.
I'm not saying they're the same though. You're acting as if I'm saying that they are the same.
No, it's not that. It's like they have like a similar premise, but
Yeah,
beyond
I'm not
that,
saying
they
they're
are
the
very
same.
different.
I'm saying it's similar. And they
Okay, well, you know, I can't
yeah,
fight you on that.
they're not the. I think Fire Force is done way better,
Or
but
I should say, they do have similar
Premisi.
premisi, but what they do with said premisi
Is
is
are
that the
completely
plural
different.
of premises?
I made that up.
I know you made that up.
I
I'm
made
kind
that
of
up.
curious
It's-
to know what
no,
it
it's
is now.
probably
though.
premises. I'm pretty sure it's
Premises?
premises.
I was gonna say premisi. Sounds like the most pretentious word I've
Yeah.
ever heard.
But
It reminds me of like, I was having this conversation once with, I guess you could call him a friend of mine, and we were trying to figure out, it was all three of us idiots together trying to figure out what the plural of octopus was without looking it up. And this freaking dude, he's like, well, technically, I think the plural is octopodes.
what
And
if
I'm like, excuse me?
Octopodes? That
What?
sounds like a Greek. What is a Greek god name or something?
Yeah, because the thing was, they were like, whether or not
Is that
the plural
the
is like
main character from
octopi
the?
or octopodes.
Say, is that just the name of the character from that one Hades game?
No. Why did you bring that into the mix?
I don't.
Okay, I actually
Because it's
I know
popular
this
and
is an
relevant.
animation
to them.
podcast. I know this is an animation podcast, but like video
Okay.
games have animation, so it counts. I have not played Hades. Everyone and their mother is like, this game is the best game ever, and I'm still
I just keep
waiting to
seeing
be
fan art
convinced
all over
that
my
I should try
timeline with
it.
no. I have no context for it,
Yeah,
and I
same.
just see it, and I'm like, there they go again.
Yeah, and I'm like, I think it's a very visually pleasing game, but I'm like, someone's gonna have to really sit me down and be like, here's why you should play this, because I see that people like it. That in itself
What
is
kind
not
of
enough
game
to
is it?
convince
Is
me
it
to
like-
play it.
I'll watch a playthrough or something.
Is it on a console? Like, forgive me for being a fake gamer, but
I think it's on Steam.
consoles and PC.
okay. Because I was like, is it a mobile game? Like, what is
I'll
this?
look it up.
Like, I know it's on the
It's-
Switch, and I'm pretty sure it's also on the
It's
PC.
the main character is a pretty boy. That's why people are playing.
Yeah,
it.
of course. I saw him and I was like, yep, there we
Is
go.
that
That's
really
half
it?
the sales right there. I'm not hating, but like, it'd be how it is.
Oh my goodness.
What?
Oh, it's a roguelike. Okay.
Okay.
What does that mean?
So like Nuclear Throne, Enter the Gungeon, games like that.
Oh, I hate those. I can't play games that involve
Spelunky.
hand-eye coordination because I don't have it.
I mean, like, the thing about roguelikes, though, is that, and this is even true of me, because we all know I'm the best gamer to ever walk the earth, wink wink, is that, like, roguelikes take 100 hours to learn. Like, to be decent at one, you must
I
put
don't-
100 hours into it.
It's the reason why
Like, I think I
tried
have-
picking a Binding of Isaac like a couple years back, and I just couldn't get into it because it takes so long to master.
Okay. I have something to say about Binding of Isaac, but I'll get back to it. Like, I have, I think, 300 hours in Enter the Gungeon, and I have beaten it once. So, like, you know, roguelikes, they take some learning. But my thing about Binding of Isaac, and I'm glad you brought this up, was, like, since Since we were just discussing Christianity earlier, I can't figure this out. Binding of Isaac has a lot of, like, biblical references. I can't figure out what it's trying to say.
I think
it's
he
just-
who, like...
Yeah, it's. I think it's one of those he who edgy.
Yeah, that's the vibe I get from
like
it.
the kids.
Okay, because I'm like,
Yeah, the kid just happens to be named Isaac, and then, because do you mind being spoiled how Binding of Isaac typically
No,
ends?
I'm never gonna play it, so...
I mean, I've seen the ending.
Basically,
Tangle
Binding
doesn't
of
play
Isaac.
video games.
I haven't beaten the game either. But a friend was explaining to me that basically, you can either go up or down in the tower thing that you're playing the game, and if you go up, you basically beat a double of yourself, and that's you accepting that you were basically killed and suffocated or something. So I don't know. It's basically just edgy roguelike that happens to use Christian motifs. I don't think it's trying to be deep. It's just being edgy.
Is it based off of what is that thing? I can't remember. Because I don't want to get the wrong story and feel like an idiot. Yeah.
And get roasted in
basically.
the
That's probably
comments.
You mean the sacrifice?
Yes,
of
yes,
Isaac or
that's the
whatever?
thing. Yeah,
Yeah, it's kind of, except the kid just has an abusive mom.
that kind of sucks.
It's like yes but no. Like I'm pretty sure the story is like he jumps into the basement because she tries to kill him with a knife, and that's about it.
Yeah, that's
Dang,
about
that's
it.
rough.
Yeah,
It'd be like
that is rough. That's why I can't play it, because it just has like well, for one thing, it's just sad to constantly get beaten up all the time and like feel like I'm bad at video games because I have a fragile ego, TM. But also because there's just no happy ending to it, and like I don't mind a story that doesn't have a happy ending, but that was just I just
there's a point where it's like just give mans a break.
Yeah.
That's why I prefer games like Nuclear Throne and Gungeon, because Nuclear Throne is like, haha, crackheaded aesthetic, haha, you're dead, play it again, and it's like, it's funny, like, you don't really get it because it's funny, and then Gungeon is like, haha, guns, and that's basically it.
I mean, I'm
like,
already bad
simple.
at video games, so the learning curve for stuff like that is like 2 times as high for me. I literally...
We still love you, though.
Is this why you went and made a film studio instead of a game studio? Because you're bad at games?
Yes. Yeah,
No,
Sid wants to make a
is
game
my
studio,
job.
so I will be dragged into that. But up until then...
I already stole the Twitter app, so don't even try it.
I mean, also, it's just, like, for me, I think, like, video games are more... They tend to be. I think more recently, they've become more of their own medium of storytelling, but I think a lot of games focus more on gameplay than they do on story, which is valid because it's like you're playing a video game, but I feel like that doesn't really appeal to me in the same way, except if it's Breath of the Wild, because Breath of the Wild slaps.
Allow me...
Which
Yeah, but
is
there's
annoying
no
because
story.
they
Anyway,
should
allow
have
me
put
to
more of a
introduce
story in
you-
it. I'll go off on that in a minute. You go ahead.
Okay, I was about to say, this is the reason why I must reintroduce you to visual novels as a genre, because they are literally just story with a little bit of gameplay sprinkled in, but they're still video games, but they're also stories, and that's why I love them, and that's why most of the games I design are designed to be visual novels, because my thing is like, I want to tell a story, but it also must be told through the medium of a game, which is why if I have all story and no gameplay ideas, it gets put
The
in the
thing is,
visual
though,
novel
when I
box
say I
for
want
later.
games with story, what I basically mean is I want Breath of the Wild, but with a story. That's basically what I want, like, out of a video game.
Oh.
Like, I want gameplay that allows you to, like, move around in 3D space or whatever, but I also want, like, a story to go with it, with, like, cutscenes and stuff. I don't want to read.
Yeah.
If I wanted to read, I would just go read a book or a fan fiction. Like, I'm not gonna read.
Yeah,
Books are boring with no sprites.
Books are
not
great.
interesting. Books are great, but without sprites,
I literally,
do not have the attention span.
my dude, when you read, you just zone out and you just imagine it in your head. Like, I don't need a sprite.
Dude, I literally haven't had that happen to me since, like, Percy Jackson in 11th grade. That's why I'm like, you can hand me a book, and I might read it over the course of a year, but I read Danganronpa, like, once every 2 months. And I can keep doing that. So it's like,
Danganronpa icon. No,
So
you're
mean
right.
to me.
Danganronpa's, you kind of slap a little bit.
Yeah, we didn't finish it while you were hanging.
There's so
and
many
that
things that
sucks.
we
didn't
didn't
even
do while
think
I was
about
still at
it,
the house.
outside of me mentioning
It's
it
kind of
once.
sad. But
Yeah, right.
I was gonna mention we should probably cozy back to the actual
no, this
topic
is great.
of the
Like,
podcast.
honestly, I love watching podcasts where
Oh,
they just go
yeah.
off about nothing for an hour. I guess that might just be me,
Oh,
though.
okay.
I do
Oh,
want
yeah,
to
you
get
wanna
to
go
my
ahead with
reason
that?
why I
And then I
joined,
can
but...
rant about Breath of the Wild.
Oh yeah, okay, sure. Then we can talk about Breath of the Wild, which you can definitely discuss from the perspective of someone who's not that into games. But then I want to talk about it from a game dev perspective because
Okay.
I have words for Nintendo. But so basically, I joined the studio because Tangle is good at making things, but she's not good at
Yes.
making money, and I'm good at making money. So she was like, "Please help," and I was like, "Okay." And somewhere down the line, I also ended up doing 3D models, which I did not want to do, but I actually kind of enjoy.
Yeah,
So, that
okay.
was
So the
chill.
thing about the making money,
3D model squad.
I am the standard artist who's like, I just want to create. I do not want to manage the money. So it's like, she's there to be like, okay, so do you have
Yeah,
a
it's like,
plan? And then
for-
I'm like, no. And then she comes up with one. So
like, if you people watching, if you've seen Keep Your Hands Off Azoken, she's like the Asakusa to my Kanamori. She just wants to run off and do whatever, and I'm like, okay,
yeah,
but
watching Azoken
plan?
was like
The
weirdly
money?
like, it was like half cathartic and also like a
Yeah.
call out because I'm like, oh frick, they know how we think now. Yikes.
Yeah, I'm basically Canon Money with the personality, but without the
Like-
management.
Yeah, I'm like the money.
Kanamori is such a G though. I was like, imagine being a middle high school girl and like having this
Isn't
much
she?
like just cojones. Like we stan, honestly.
She's basically the mafia.
She is.
Called the mafia in the anime, and I can't get over
It's
it.
so good.
I think or the what is it? The yak.
Yuck. The
Yeah.
yak.
Shut up.
Also, I love one of the things I love about Azoken is like it's probably one of the few animes that I've seen that doesn't end up like sexualizing the characters, which is so freaking refreshing.
They're middle schoolers. I hope not. Oh, my voice.
It really did though. You're valid. It
Like, I remember seeing a Twitter post that was like, this is the only anime I've seen that has a bathhouse scene that doesn't sexualize the middle / high school
yeah, and also I
girls.
feel like
was
it's a more accurate
yo.
portrayal of middle and high school girls because they're just freaking gremlins.
Yeah,
Considering
right?
how. Yeah, they're just crackheads. I'm like, yeah, this is actually how middle school kids
Yeah,
are.
I was like, middle school girls do not act like they do
This is
in
the
these
energy we
weird, like,
want.
primetime TV shows. They are basically just gremlins. That's it. I mean, unless you're, like, one of the popular
Right.
kids, TM, I guess, but most of us are just kind of gremlin. Especially
Yeah, right.
creative types, not to, like... I mean, I guess I'm insulting me also, so it's fine, but, like... Especially creative type people, like, we are just gremlins. Like, we, like, are not trying to do all that. But, yeah, it was such a good show, and I was like, yep,
Yeah.
Sid was right. I see this. I see all of this happening in the studio.
Because, like, for context, you guys, I originally watched Azoken as it was premiering the episodes on Crunchyroll, where, like, I don't know if you had made Thornforge yet, Tangle, but you were definitely talking about doing it. So, like, I was watching it, and I was like, you should probably watch this, because it reminds me a lot of, like, what you're trying to do. And we didn't get to watch it until, like
Yeah.
together until, like, October. But the whole time, she was like, yeah, that's us. Yeah, that's us.
Yep, I was like,
like, yeah, I know.
It do be like this, though.
Also, that OP do slap.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It was stuck in my head. for,
Don't
like, a
it,
bit
though?
afterward.
Yeah.
It do
Yeah.
be hitting.
Also, one of the... Oh, good.
I really hope...
I was
like,
gonna
there's
say,
no-
I thought it was
Sorry,
really
go ahead.
funny
No, go ahead.
when I was
You're good.
watching the intro, because I had seen someone who had helped with the intro on Twitter talk about how they, like, had modeled Kanamori's, like, dance after, like, a Drake meme or something, and I was like, this is Americans
Yeah.
for ya, like...
Wait, like Drake and
No,
Josh?
the
Yeah, it's like there's one...
the musician.
No, Drake,
it's
like, the
a
musician.
reference to, like, a Drake meme or something.
Oh, the Drake meme where it's like, yeah,
I
no,
think that's what he modeled it off of, and I had seen that on Twitter, and I thought it was really funny.
Oh my gosh. Okay,
Yeah,
okay,
try
okay.
to find the
Wait,
post
I
if
actually
you
have a
can.
little more trivia on the intro because I also read too many YouTube comments. You know that part where they're like dancing with the silhouette and there's like that kind of like hollow
Yeah.
background thing? Yeah,
Yeah.
that's basically just a binder that they have in the
Oh
office.
my gosh, we love to see it.
Yeah.
I love that
You
so
freaking
much.
love to see it.
It's so good. It's such a...
But yeah, I love Azoken. I really hope, like, there hasn't been any official news about a season 2, but, like, since the manga is still running and it got a
Yeah.
stage
Also,
play,
I love
wouldn't
how
be surprised.
Azoken,
Stage
like,
play, yeah.
describes the joy of creation and,
It
like,
got a
why
stage
artists
play.
create. Because I feel like I haven't seen that before in that way. I think it's really cool.
Were you about to
What?
tell me to stop?
No.
It sounded like you were about to tell me to stop, because every time you say the joy of creation, I go
you
into
brought
like
that in here.
FNAF mode.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Oh, Jan asked about stage play.
Oh yeah, it's like, you know about the stage play thing in Japan where like they'll take an anime and then they'll adapt it into a play and then like perform it live. It's a thing.
That's news
There's a
to me.
Haikyuu one, and I'm
Yeah,
really
no, it's a very common
you
thing.
mean like
yeah.
you mean okay. Is this in the same way that they have Shrek the musical?
kind of, but better.
Kind of. Yeah, like imagine if it was done in a way that like you want to watch it.
There's at least one Haikyuu one,
That's
and
a
I
stage
kind of
play.
low-key want to see it.
Yeah, it was funny because like I think it's the audio chick. Is that
I think
Domeki?
so? I don't remember their names very well.
Yeah, like her. You know how her skin is like kind of dark, and Japan is like 99.9% ethically Japanese. So like they couldn't find someone who could like
Really?
look like her and do the part. So she's just another like Asian person. It's just really funny to me.
Yeah, oh, it's such a good show. But yeah, I definitely needed Sit's help with just managing the company aspect because, again, I don't know how to make money on that kind of scale. So...
Like, I remember she was telling me, she was like, oh, I want to do this, this, and that. And I was like, okay, but how are you going to generate income? Because these things cost money.
I have more
she just
answers
had no
now,
answer.
but
It was
like,
hilarious.
definitely did not have an answer then. Yeah.
Yeah, right?
But, yeah.
It was good stuff, though. It was good
Also,
stuff.
like, you're really good at 3D modeling, so... I mean,
I'm okay at
it's
it.
service, like, it works.
You'll get there.
Like, it doesn't look bad, and we can use it, so...
Like, like, the truth of the matter is, there are better people that you could have brought on to do that, but, like, I enjoy doing it.
I think
so
it's cool.
Like, whatever.
I can do 3D modeling. I'm just too
It do be like
busy and
that.
tired.
You're still in school
Yeah.
anyway. And art school, I think, is harder in a sense. Like, I wouldn't say
Yeah.
it's, like, harder, but it's a lot more time and labor intensive than other forms of education tend to be. So it's, like, harder in that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like I'm getting a doctrine or anything. It's just it takes so long to
Like,
get
the
the
creative
product out.
process is just very, like, tedious and arduous, and it just takes a lot of work and time.
Mm-hmm.
And comparatively to, like, an actual production, like, in the industry, they kind of are asking you to produce it in a way, way shorter time frame, which makes it even harder. So, or at least for, like, when I went to school.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on. Are you saying that your school had you do stuff at a faster pace than the industry or a slower pace than industry? Because usually it's slower.
That's because my school was
Fast?
on the
Wait.
my school was on the quarter system,
Serious?
so I only really got like 2 or 3 months
Oh, okay.
like per quarter.
Yeah, like, isn't
Yeah.
the quarter, like, 7
So
or 8
a lot of
weeks?
our, at least for us, our time scale was
Jeez,
like
that's
very
nuts.
much sped up, and they still kind of expect us to do really high quality work anyway. But it'd be like that.
That's not how it works.
I'm assuming that
That's not how any
schools
of
that are
this
on the
works.
semester system don't
It's like
necessarily have the same problem. But
No, because like for instance, I've been working on it kind of depends because a lot of it comes down to how many like for instance, let me bring up an example. I mostly do design and 3D modeling for my thesis project that I'm working on right now. And the 3D process is usually pretty straightforward unless I really mess up or I'm trying to experiment with the different like geometry and all that. But when it's with the design, what's the word? The design process, a lot of it is just iterating and iterating until you get the design that satisfies you as the artist, but mostly the producer. Like for instance, I'm not the person who's in charge of the thesis. I work under the producer and the director. So like for instance, the main character, me and another teammate probably spent maybe 2 weeks working on the main character before we got it. But for say, I'm working on one of the bosses right now, and I'm having a harder time kind of nailing it at the moment. So it might take a little bit longer. Where was I going with this?
I still think comparatively to the industry, that's a
I
faster
don't know where I
time
was going
frame.
with this.
Like, I don't think you would spend 2 weeks figuring out your main character.
Yeah,
That would
yeah.
probably be like 3 months, maybe even longer.
Well, yeah, because the main character is like your poster boy. You want your poster boy character to be,
Yeah.
appealing marketing.
So I think maybe it's not as crunch as mine,
And
but
it's
it's
with
still
the-
a
with the-
faster time period that they're expecting you to still put out
Mhm.
quality work in. Yeah.
Well, yeah, because people who have had that experience for that long know how to churn out all those ideations and stuff a lot faster than, say, a student who's been doing it for like 2 years. Because they have all these different little methods in order to, like, speed up the process, get more iterations out. They've kind of mastered, like, all the research that they need to
Okay,
do,
one thing
that kind of stuff.
that does remind me of, as a studio, I really actually do want to avoid crunch because I think it's super unhealthy and like doesn't help. Like, it's hell for the employees. Like, it's so hard to do work like that. And I think it also does a disservice to the product that you're trying to
Mhm.
make. So I think even if it does take us a little longer than most studios to get stuff out, I really don't want to do crunch or overtime. Like, I would really rather not do that
Yeah, I
just for like everyone involved.
no,
'Cause I
yeah,
know
I
that's a
totally get
thing that
that.
a lot of people have to do, and I'm like, maybe
No,
we
yeah,
don't have to do it though.
yeah, I would generally agree that
Yeah.
we want to avoid crunch as much as possible. It's an interesting that's a whole interesting thing, the idea of crunch, because like with me, with my upbringing, well, part of it is actually just straight up from upbringing, um, is that there's kind of this whole mentality that I both kind of embrace, but also kind of have to keep in check. Is like, okay, you sit down and you get the work done where it needs to
Yeah.
be at whatever cost, kind of thing. Like because part of it comes from like you get the grades, you do this, you do that, you either fail or you get the job done. There's at least with the way how we grew up, there wasn't that much wiggle room. um my I grew up mostly with a single parent household kind of thing. um there's kind of this mentality that that I have that can actually be a hubris to me in this kind of workplace. This idea of working yourself, because getting that product out is all that matters, and sometimes you don't have the luxury of resting, kind of thing. Which basically makes me like prime meat for studios to get me to work
Yeah,
overtime,
no, it's like
which is bad. So I'm trying.
I respect the drip, but
But what I know, I'm getting there. I'm getting there.
yeah,
I'm getting good
I don't
sleep.
want to put people through that. I just don't
But
want
what
to
I'm
do
trying,
that if I don't like I nah.
yeah, we want to avoid that. It's just that in some cases, when budget is involved, there comes a there may come a point where crunch time is
Yeah.
unavoidable, unfortunately. But we want to avoid that as much as possible, though. That way, we don't become like the next what's it called?
Cyberpunk
No, I'm
2077.
Yeah, I
full
was gonna
Nintendo delay
mention.
the game.
I didn't
I will
want to
just
name
delay
drop
the
anything.
game.
Like
They
I'll
delayed the
only
game for like
Did they?
5 years, didn't
Know.
they?
I don't know.
for Cyberpunk.
They
For
delayed it a
Cyberpunk, I
whole
know they
lot.
delayed it like at least 6 months.
I thought they delayed it a lot longer than that, but yeah, just trying to avoid being the next
Like no,
controversy in the industry.
Yeah, like I will say, and I will say it only very quickly because I know Tango gets whenever I mention FNAF, but like the golden development cycle is like anything that Scott Cawthon makes, because like it is done when it is done. And that's it. Like, he doesn't ever rush anything. And I'm like, on one hand, that's because he has, like, infinite money, so he doesn't really have to care about, like, deadlines and stuff. But, like, wouldn't that be the dream for, like, for example, the game studio I want to make, or, like, for Thornforge, just, like, it's done when it's done, and you'll have it when it's
yeah,
finished.
I would love to get to
like,
that
that's
point because
great.
I'm not trying to
Yeah.
overwork people, but I'm also not trying to make bad stuff. So
Yeah, that makes sense.
But it's like
'cause
overworking people will make bad stuff.
I don't know if you guys heard about this was part of the stuff that happened out of, I think it was Cuphead, that I think
Yeah.
one of the guys that was working on it,
I think he
moved out
like
of
sold his house as
or
collateral or
something. No,
something.
I'm trying.
Yeah, they, like, sold all their stuff,
yeah. And
all they
people
had
were all like,
was the
dude,
game.
didn't have
He's
to
a
do
G.
that.
We love to see it.
You really didn't have to do that. Just delay
Man
the
said,
game.
nah.
I think I think that part of it though is because like because money and income is definitely a big part of these kind of things. Because if you don't make that game and it doesn't make enough money, then you're screwed. That I think that at least this is kind of the model that most of us are abiding by at the moment, is that we have like our main like full-time / part-time jobs, and then Thornforge is just a kind of
Yeah.
a passion project on the side, and then like slowly upgrading to the point where maybe it's like part-time
I would love to get to
Thornforge,
that
part-time
point.
whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be
Lord
awesome,
willing,
honestly.
we trying to get there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
very
I'm
pleased
having fun
with
making
y'all.
stuff with y'all too. It's so fun. Like, I
Hey.
forgot how much I love animating and making things with people that I like hanging out with. Like, it's just really fun.
You know, the thing about Thornforge that I'm really happy about is, like, against my will, it forced me to complete a 3D model because I have been modeling since, like, ooh, geez, what, 2013, maybe? But, like, I never completed a model until
Really?
No Tail. Yeah, and,
Wow.
like, seeing it be totally finished, because, like, the thing I said in the last session where I was like, if I make the thing and it is bad, it is an insult to the person who initially created the IP. So I would try to make stuff and I'd be like, I don't really like how it looks. I will delete it. But then, like, when Thornforge came around, it was like, okay, make this. Here is your deadline. So it's like I literally didn't have a choice except to just finish it. And it's like, oh, look, it's done. And it actually looks not, like, especially when the textures
Yeah.
are on it. I was like, yo.
I'm glad that it forced
Yeah.
you to
Baller.
finish something, because I'm like, as soon as she makes something, she will experience the joy of creation. Please shut up. Don't say it. And then she will want to do it more, and I was right. So
You are very much sexy and right today.
Can we please put that on the
I
shirt?
don't. No.
Like, if we get the chance to do merchandise, I would love to get, like, quote shirts where it's like everyone who's been on the podcast would have, like, a shirt
Gosh,
you could buy with, like, a quote
oh.
from them.
Because I feel like people who
Gosh,
don't.
I'm just thinking of that
I
meme.
feel like people who don't know me would, like, see that quote and just assume a lot of things that aren't true about me.
Wait, Jam, what were you saying? I thought you said
I think
something.
Jam said that. Yeah. I want to get to the point where, like, there are videos that are just, like, clips of, like, crackheaded things that all of us have said on like, episodes of the podcast.
I mean, like... I
5
would
minutes
like to
of
do...
Tangle being crackhead.
Like, I personally would be open to releasing those highlight reels ourselves
Honestly,
on
if
the
we get
Thornforge
to...
channel, if you want me to do that.
Yeah, just make one that's you two debating anime and everyone else has no idea what you're talking about, because that's been me half of this podcast.
Yeah, it do be like that. Oh wait, I never got to talk about Breath of the Wild. Okay, so Breath of the Wild makes me so mad because
yeah,
it's
3
such
minutes,
a good
go.
game, and it's probably the only Zelda game that I've actually finished the whole story. The thing that irritates me about Breath of the Wild is that the universe sets it up for such an intricate story, and they kind of just go for the simplest route possible. Like, they're like, okay, Link got cryogenically frozen, TM, basically. He's awake now. There are people who died that were supposed to freaking fight Ganon or whatever and couldn't do it because they got the L. Okay, get their remote control RC cars. All right, got them. All right, save Zelda. All right, give Ganon the L. Good night. And I'm like, you could have done so much more with this concept, and I'm mad.
Okay.
I'd like to add to that once you guys are done.
Okay, I have to raise a counterpoint because
If it has anything to do with Rivali, I will destroy you.
there's so
Okay.
No, that's not...
I said if it has
Wait,
anything
what
to
did
do
you
with
say?
Rivali, I will destroy you. That's basically what I'm saying.
no,
But-
no. This is not me
Okay,
going off about
okay.
bird furries. Okay. Well, I'll save that foddery for another episode. But what I'm trying to get at is that, okay, all those little intricate pieces of bits and story you get by doing the freaking side quests, like you do. You're supposed to in a video game, like if you want. Okay, there's a complaint in recent video games that are like, okay, this game is like 50% cutscenes. When am I going to actually play the game? Like, there is a balance between. I know that part of it just comes down to the fact that you're not a huge gamer, which, that's valid. But there's like a game that's very gameplay focused and doesn't hand you a story directly isn't going to
No.
appeal to you as much. But it doesn't necessarily like discredit it as working as a good piece of video game medium
That's fair.
specifically. Because like a lot of games, like especially like well, it's deviating into a much different genre, but things like Metroid, Bloodborne, Dark Souls have actually have very intricate stories, have very simple plot lines when you're playing the game, but you get a lot of the story through entry logs, scan logs, item descriptions, that kind of thing. that like there's different ways to tell that story. If you're looking for like a visual novel, you go for a visual novel. If you want a story that if you want a story that's Legend of Zelda or whatever that will deliver a story to you more directly, like Breath of the Wild is basically the worst game for that, because Breath of the Wild is to be as open-ended to get from point A to point B as possible. So in order to allow you to go to Ganon as easily as that, the story by default has to be that simple, because it has to be, if that makes sense. So like games that might appeal to you more might be like Twilight Princess, Ocarina of Time. I'm a big Twilight Princess stan myself. So that I guess
fair.
that's just kind of my main thing. I will say about visual novels. I actually okay, Sit might fire me for this one, but
you have no idea how hard I'm staring at the screen.
But I'm gonna say this right now. I don't think visual novels are games.
Oh no.
Perish!
Oh no, you had to say
you
that.
Are
didn't
fired. Get out! Get out!
No, because
I cannot believe that you just said that.
It's not called a game. It's called a novel that is aided through character dialogue, through character sprites, and like you said, there's not that much gameplay to it. So I just
Danganronpa, your argument is invalid.
I'm literally just sitting here like the bum.
Are you gonna prove me wrong? Can you prove me wrong? Can you prove me wrong? Where is the interactive gameplay aspect of a visual novel outside of multiple choice puzzles?
She's right about Danganronpa because we gotta do stuff.
Yeah, okay, I will bring up Danganronpa, but I can get to other visual novels first. The interactive part of the visual novel... Okay, you know what? It's time for deep lore, because I actually can't explain this without visual novel deep lore. So, there is a difference between a visual novel and a sound novel, even though they do both fall underneath the blanket of visual novel. A sound novel is basically what you've just described, where it's like you do nothing except for click button, read text, and occasionally you get to make a choice about what the character says in that moment. Mm-hmm. A visual novel has gameplay elements, and that is what separates them. I happen to enjoy them both, but like, for example, Higurashi, which is like for just a tiny little bit of background, it's basically like a psychological horror it's a sound novel, psychological horror sound novel. But you can compare that to Danganronpa, where you will spend equal time reading and like actually playing game. And like, I might put some footage up so you guys can see what I'm talking about, but it's like, it is just as much click button, look at sprite as it is like rapid fire mouse button click logic solving. Mm-hmm. Shut up, Tangle, you love it. But like, so like, they absolutely, I think you can make the argument that a sound novel is technically not a video game, because the very literal definition of a video game, I say this to people all the time, is an activity, or rather the definition of a game is an activity with a win condition and a loss condition. So for Higurashi, there is no loss condition. You click button until it says the game is over. But like with Danganronpa, you can either succeed or you can get a game over. So I'm like, okay, it's playable, it's a video game. So like sound novel,
is Ace
not
Attorney
a game.
A visual novel?
Fun, but not a game.
No.
Yeah, you don't open the whole can of worms. Technically, like, if you ask the visual novel community whether or not it is a visual novel, they will tell you yes, but more accurately, you could call it an RPG with visual novel elements. Because, like, it does have gameplay, it has a win condition and a loss condition, but it is mostly reading.
Okay.
Like, it's very similar to Danganronpa in the sense where it's like you are either reading all day or you are, like, doing the court segments, which is, like, where the gameplay happens. So, like, if you ask me, I would say yes. But if you ask someone and they say no, they're valid.
Okay. So, this is just as kind of a quick question. So, have you heard of the Zero Escape series, like 999?
No, I don't know what that means.
Okay, Last Reward, stuff like that?
I want to play it really bad. I haven't gotten to it yet.
Okay. Because it kind of mixes in that, I wouldn't say it's very visual novel-y, because it goes between, like, these kind of choice segments, but also these, puzzle solving, like puzzle room segments, essentially. So it's basically like a puzzle room game wrapped up in a visual novel wrapping or whatever. Pretty decent. I've the first one actually got adapted into a visual novel format that you can just straight up just play on your phone or whatever, or read on your phone, I should say. And then the second one actually have my 3DS. That one's pretty dang good. I haven't played the last one yet though.
Oh, I do want to say one thing though before we get too far off of Breath of the Wild, because I've spent a lot of time thinking about this. I want to disclaimer this by saying that Breath of the Wild is one of my favorite Zelda games, and I love it, and I think it's a great game. But I do think that in terms of storytelling, it was slightly mishandled how they told the story, and there was kind of no way out of this, because, as you guys are aware, the way they tell the story is, like, posthumously. Like, it's already happened. Like, the whole Calamity Ganon thing has already happened. You're kind of like, you figure out the story by picking up the pieces, right? But when I first played the game and finished it, I was like, okay, I love this game. This game is great, but, like, the story was the weakest part of it. I would have rather played through the Calamity itself and then rebuilding. But then Nintendo was like, oh, we're releasing Age of Calamity, which I have more things to say about. But my issue with them releasing Breath of the Wild and then Age of Calamity is, like, I played Breath of the Wild and then was like, oh man, I would have loved to play through the Calamity. Then Age of Calamity comes out and I'm like, there's no point in me playing through the Calamity because I already know what happens next.
You have a point. Oh.
Well, Age of Calamity had a different ending though. Age of Calamity is a diverging timeline.
Oh, not
Is it?
Yeah.
Because I did hear from people when it came out that it was non-canon.
It's less that. It's just straight up a diverging timeline. What happened? Okay, so I'm assuming at this point, are you okay with spoilers or whatever?
I don't play video games.
Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna play it.
So basically, shut up, Normie. So basically, what happens is, from what I understand, because I've only seen like a video or two, is that the characters from the present, so like what's his name? Revol.
Oh, Teba.
No, Teba. Teba's modern Revali.
Yeah, Teba. Yeah. It's like Teba, Sidon, etc. Cool. So they come from the present to the past in order to end the calamity there and then, creating a timeline where, I mean, this doesn't affect the current Breath of the Wild timeline, but it creates a split in the timeline where there's a version where the calamity is actually defeated then and there. So in that timeline, Link isn't froze a popsicle for 100 years, etc. So that's where it comes into play. So it's still canon. It's just another timeline split now.
Oh boy, that'll be fun for the theorists.
Did they ever figure out where Breath of the Wild is on the whole thing? Because they have both the Ritos and the Zoras, so it just makes things confusing.
The general consensus that I've seen is that it's earlier in the timeline. But if someone in the comments, or like maybe I'll even fact check myself, if someone in the comments knows
I wanted
to
say
that,
I kind of agree with Citrin in the sense that like we don't really get to spend a lot of time with the champions, especially just because like she said they're already dead, so there's not really that much you can do, and like the impact of their story is a little lesser because we didn't get to spend that time with them before they died really. Also, I just don't like Mipha. My homies don't like Mipha.
Okay. I remember I started so many fights online about Mipha. I don't think
it's
it's
because of the voice acting.
The voice acting is part of it for me, but I just don't think she's all that
I will do something that I almost never do, and acknowledge that it is a point. I think for me, I'm not willing to die on the hill that she's objectively not interesting. I'm willing to concede that it is a character preference for me. I tend not to like meek characters, particularly meek female characters. I just tend not to like them in general. So I will be willing to concede that it might just be a point of preference that I do not like Mipha.
That's...
Also,
oh my gosh, there's so much I could say to that, but I won't.
Part of me is just like... Because like there was this whole thing where it's like, oh, she gave him the Zora armor because she wanted to marry him, and I'm like seething, like, yo, keep your hands
that's
off
my thing.
Zelda's
I'm like,
man.
you did not shoot your shot. You get what you get. Like... Yeah, I'm like, honestly, like, if you liked him, you really should have just went for it, and you didn't. Like, you can't just be like a whole marriage proposal and he doesn't even know. Like, that's not fair. Like, that's not shooting your shot. Like, I can't. Like,
boy's dense.
Link is like, haha, what a good friend, and she's like, I gave him my arm. Like, girl, you better get it together. I can't stand that. We not on coward stuff.
Oh man, people really do be thinking that guys can read cues. They can't.
No,
I'm sorry, they can't read cues. No.
Actually, can I say one thing about Breath of the Wild though? One thing I really liked was the whole plot point prior to the, in Breath of the Wild, the plot point before the calamity happened, where Zelda had to go to the 3 springs and, try to figure out which one was supposed to be her patron goddess. and the fact that she wasn't getting a response from any of them, and it was like really frustrating and upsetting to her. Like that cutscene where she's like in the pool or whatever, and she's like sobbing and asking like, "Oh, what's wrong with me?" Well, of course, like Link is facing the other way because like she's wearing white.
Chivalry
and it's, like, very
TM.
thin. I'm like, okay,
Let's
go.
go.
He drink his respect women juice, but I'm like, that scene kind of hit me because I'm like, pardon me for bringing the Christianity TM, but it's like when you're in the situation where like you're trying to like suss out your faith and you're not feeling as though you're getting a response from like anything or anywhere, like maybe you're not feeling it with the church community, or like you're praying but you're not feeling as though you're being heard, even though obviously you are, but like that kind of frustration, I was
That's
like,
a really
I kind of vibe with seeing
I never even thought of that
okay.
when I was watching that scene.
Because it's like, knowing what I know about Zelda lore, Zelda's patron goddess is the goddess of wisdom, who I believe is Nehru, but like she
she's
doesn't even get an
literally a
answer.
reincarnated goddess. Like she's literally highly reincarnated over and over again.
I know, and it's like the fact that she didn't get a response, I was like, yo,
That's pretty lit,
tears.
honestly. I like that. We love to see it. Honestly, I really want to see more of Zelda in Breath of the Wild, because I'm like, there's so much history between like not even just her and Link, but like her trying to save her people and the world, I guess, too, that we just also don't really get to see because she's not dead, right?
No, she's not dead. She was like okay, they're like,
they
oh, she's
specify
fighting
where she
Ganon,
is?
but it's like she's kind of like frozen in time in a similar way. Like obviously when you rescue her at the end of the game, she's not as old as Impa, so like she's not aging.
We should have gotten old Link.
That would have been so cute.
Yo.
Honestly, we'd love to see that.
Did y'all see that comic where like he saves Zelda and it turns out Zelda is old and she turns into like the spirit thing because she died too?
I haven't.
Yeah, I do believe I have seen that.
Oh my god.
It's different.
Honestly,
This turned into a video
that's
game
where the
podcast
that's
so
where the conversation
fast. I'm
naturally
so
went. So
sorry.
I'm down with it.
I mean, it has. I will say, here's one thing I can bring it back. Breath of the Wild has some lovely like in gameplay animations, but also I think like the cutscenes and
Also,
like,
it's
the
a very
memories and
interesting
such are all
visual
done
style
very,
that they've
very
decided to use, where it's kind of like this like cell shaded, like
it's like they took Skyward Sword and then put like an HD version of Wind Waker's shader on it. It's kind of baller.
We love to see it.
Yeah.
I can't wait for Breath of the Wild 2 though, because I really want to see Link and Zelda play off of each other.
Yes.
And I really want the ship tease.
Yeah.
Also, yeah.
I want to play as Zelda.
I also want to play as
I
Zelda.
want to play as Zelda. I want to play as Zelda. Gosh. Okay. Do you think they're actually going to? Okay, because everyone went nuts about "quote unquote" hydrated Ganon. Do you think they're actually going to get that, or is that just going to?
Look,
I
if
really
he's not
want
as hot as the
hydrated
fan art,
Ganon
I
to
don't
be a
want it.
thing, but Nintendo
What?
is a bunch of cowards. They're not going to do it.
Like, I remember seeing people draw a bunch of, like, rehydrated Ganon art, and I'm like, yo, why y'all make Ganon kind of fine? Like, that's not okay! And it got to this point where I'm like,
Oh
look,
my
if he
gosh.
doesn't look like this, I don't want it.
And for whatever reason, they kept like drawing him like teaming up with them for some reason. Like that would be an interesting concept.
Yeah,
I'm
that would be
thinking
interesting.
Why? Because it seems really
I don't
clear
know.
he's gonna be the bad guy. Like I would that would be cool if all three of them teamed up, but also
Like, unless
wait,
they're gonna-
what would the logic be?
Because it's like, Ganon and Ganondorf are technically two different characters, so I'm like, are they gonna have Ganondorf team up with them against Ganon? 'Cause,
Zelda
like, that's
lore
still
is
technically
really
him fighting
confusing to me
himself.
for this reason.
Huh.
Like when you first got into it and you were like explaining it to me, I was like, this is a mess. Like this is just a mess.
That's
'Cause
the
I would
fun
mix up-
part about it, is that it's a mess.
I just watched like 200 hours.
Because I
worth of video
kept
game lore, it'd be
mixing up
fine.
Ganon and Ganondorf.
Yeah, right? Yeah, Ganon Pig.
And he's like a
Ganondorf
male
tall
Gerudo,
man.
right? Like he.
Yeah, because every 100 years,
Okay,
the Gerudo
that's-
have
okay.
a male child. You know what? I am aware that it's
Okay,
Gerudo.
the thing about
I
that that
don't
confuses
like
me is if the Gerudo is a mostly
I
female
simply
race,
don't like it.
where are they getting the baby making stuff from?
Yeah.
I really don't understand.
Don't think about it too hard.
There's
Please don't make us have to edit this. Yeah, please don't make me
I'll
have to
tell
edit
you
this
after.
for that. Thank you.
Excuse you.
I'll
You
tell
have
you
to edit
after.
this?
I'll tell you after.
Me
okay?
have to edit this.
Because I was like, how does that work? Unless they like split up, like unless they reproduce asexually and they just split apart like amoeba or something. I don't know. Because I was like, wait, there are no men. So.
Well, I mean, like.
Okay.
You know
Okay.
not worth it. So sometimes you just have to
Okay,
have
well,
your
glad
own
you
filter.
have
So
one.
you know what? I have it. It's whether or not I choose to allow it to change what I'm saying.
Yeah, there's just parts of Zelda lore that don't make sense. Probably because they like made it up as they were going along and then decided that they wanted it to be a cohesive narrative afterward. But
yeah, I think up until Ocarina of Time, they had no intention of tying any of these games
it's
together.
Pretty funny.
At all.
It's funny that they tried to like pull an MCU afterward, like, oh, this is all the same universe and it's all connected, and everyone was like, okay.
Except they actually did it better than MCU.
Yeah, right.
See, the thing is that the games themselves are divided by like an unspecified thousands of years between them, so it works because they're able to keep things loosely connected, but not enough. That way, there's not 50 billion consistencies they have to keep on top of. The only thing you have to keep in mind is that the geography and location of places changes every single time. Don't ask me how Hyrule's geology works, because it doesn't.
Yeah, like in Breath of the Wild, you have like Kakariko Village, and then if you look at like the Breath of the Wild map and compare it to the Ocarina of Time map and where Kakariko Village is, it just doesn't
honestly
make sense.
I don't pay attention to stuff like that, so I probably never would have asked, but that is really interesting.
Oh, I pay attention to it. I'm like, why is Death Mountain here this time?
Yeah,
wait,
like Death Mountain was not there.
I thought the what's the name of the Sheikah? Like, because the Sheikah go extinct in
tribe.
Twilight Princess, but I think that they show up at like another point later on. It's like, wait, hold on,
wait.
extinct. Why are you here?
Speaking of Sheikah, isn't Sheik Zelda? Okay, so what's up with that?
Yes,
like,
they're the same person.
I never actually. Oh, so she just disguises herself as a Sheikah? She's not actually one, or is she actually one?
Okay.
So Zelda's a Hylian. So she's not a member of the Sheikah race.
Wait, it's a race?
But she does.
I think in some games it is.
A race? I thought it was more of a culture thing.
Well, okay, I'm fairly sure that it's more like it's like a clan, not necessarily like a separate race, but like she is not a member of that race, or rather of that clan. But she does go by Sheik, which is very confusing. But I guess since she's disguised as a member of the Sheikah clan, it kind of makes sense.
It's like I was gonna say it's like calling a dog.
My name is Dog.
But no, yeah, basically, Sheik is a disguise because she ran away from Ganon and junk. I think the Sheik is only a thing done in Ocarina of Time, right? Like the Sheik disguise doesn't pop up.
She doesn't even appear in.
That's really interesting that they haven't used that again.
Yeah. Well, Majora's Mask is its own thing.
Yeah, it is interesting.
Maybe Sheik had a very specific plot-tied purpose.
Yeah. Gotta get that music.
I was gonna say, Zelda has had more. What's the word? I don't know if productive is the right word, but more involved. Yeah, there we go. Active, involved. More involved role within the story of the game, partially in Wind Waker with Tetra.
Let's go.
Tetra, I love Tetra. Tetra
she's the best character ever. I love her.
Yeah. And then there's I think it was Spirit Tracks. Zelda actually becomes a ghost that follows you around and helps you out. Which I also thought was really fun because
like in the giant suit of armor.
Yeah, because you get like the cute little banter between the two of them and the antics.
Alphonse.
Like, it's adorable.
Where it's like,
yeah, she's literally Alphonse.
Like if you look up Spirit Tracks Zelda, she kind of does look like Alphonse, like the way the suit of armor looks.
Yeah, when's our Spirit Tracks FMA a crossover? Not crossover.
Oh, you really could. You honestly really could.
I could.
I'm just looking up Spirit Track Zelda.
I really could.
Let's see. I want to see it. My computer is slow as crap, but it's fine. Oh, yeah, she does kind of look like Alphonse. Huh.
Like, I love all the cute little scenes where it's like, haha, she doesn't know her own strength because she's a giant suit of armor. Haha, like, I love it.
It's so cute.
That's the good stuff right there.
And they have
I never actually played Spirit Tracks. Like, I know what happens in it, but I never played it.
Spirit Tracks is cute. I'm not super fond. I mean, I have like mixed feelings about the whole track mechanic thing because I played Phantom Hourglass previously, so I was more used to like the more open kind of endedness of going from one location to another. If you're on a track, you have to go a very specific route to get to a specific location. Not only that, every now and again you'll have like the evil trains on the track that will block off a route. But not only are they doing that, but they're moving along those routes and they'll block you off. And while that's all happening, you have to keep an eye out on all these different enemies. And for me, I found it just a little bit frustrating.
All right.
But that was me. It's just like, I just want to travel to this one area. That's it.
It made for a great Smash Brothers stage,
should not be this easy. Or this hard.
Yeah. I should really go back and play some of those games. Like, I played the Minish Cap. I really enjoyed the Minish Cap. But other than that, I haven't played much of the games prior to Ocarina of Time because they did not interest me.
Yeah, I still need to play Minish Cap. I played a little bit of it on an emulator.
Wait,
and
what was the game that they released for the 3DS?
I love Minish Cap.
No. This is like Game Boy.
That's the only handheld Zelda I think I've ever played was that one. Link Between Worlds. That one was. I almost finished that one, but I got to a point that I needed Citron's help with, and I forgot where I put the cartridge, so that's fun. But anyway.
Well, next time you're here,
it was actually really fun because, like, I like games that have puzzles in them because I can do puzzles because it really requires you to be able to think, and that's really all I can do. So I can do those. I can't do the hand-eye coordination stuff. Can't really do that, but other stuff I can do. But yeah, I got really far in that game. Like, I'm pretty sure I was close to actually beating it.
Yeah, you were really close. Like, I think you must have been like, you were like in the last dungeon.
Yeah, I do better with games like that where it's just puzzles because I can do puzzles. But
yeah,
other stuff. That's why I just suck at like video games in general because my hand-eye coordination is bad. Like it takes me a longer time to learn the controls because of that. But I think I was playing Breath of the Wild so much that I actually was pretty decent at it. Like, I started killing Lynels for sport, and I was like, yes. Because I could predict their moves so well and actually, like, hit the button at the right time, so... Yeah. I love Lynels. They're so cute.
Yeah, okay, like, because...
Of course you say that about the most, like, menacing enemy in the game.
Like, the glow-up of Lynels from the original Legend of Zelda to the ones in Breath of the Wild, like, yo,
the character arc.
Like, they just really did a good job.
Yeah, whoever thought of, like, okay, it's a centaur, but the human half of the centaur is actually a lion
King
man.
Stuff
like,
right there.
Yeah.
Kudos.
Also, they did the best job at redesigning both the Zora and the Rito because I couldn't stand them prior to
I still think the Zora look kind of whack, personally.
But look at the ones from Ocarina of Time and then appreciate what you have. Cause,
they really did.
Yikes.
They got it with the Rito, though. I actually really love how they look.
Yeah, because, like, okay, they were cute.
Oh, yeah, the Rito
like, in the Wind Waker, they were cute, but they weren't, like, they just kind of look like people with beaks, and I'm like, this isn't furry enough. And then, like, Breath of the Wild was like, yo, we got you.
Honestly. It's just like, just make it more furry and I'll like it. It doesn't matter. But...
Basically.
Oh, gosh. What is his name? The freaking traveling one. No. No.
Rivali.
I am not the Rivali simp. That is not me. That honor goes to Citron.
I think you have two Rivali simps in this podcast.
Cass. I really like Cass. I think he's freaking adorable.
Okay, yeah, I'm not a Rivali simp. I'm a Cass simp. Shut up.
Oh my god. Imagine not simping Rivali. He's so mean.
Some
I
of
love
us
him.
want nice boys.
I want a nice boy, but like,
oh my
Rivali.
God. You're the worst.
Cass is wonderful, but he is married and has children, so I cannot look.
You're like, I don't want to be a home wrecker to this fictional character. Which is valid, honestly. Me too.
Like, one of my favorite cast-related memories was, like, there's one shrine quest where you have to let lightning strike on top of, like, this mountain in order to reveal the shrine. And before that, I talked to him, and he was like, oh, I have this, like, story, and he basically says that, but, like, in song, and I'm trying to figure it out, and, like, I think what you were supposed to do was leave a metal tool on top of the mountain, but I just equipped a metal weapon and then stood there and let lightning strike me.
Oh my god!
It still worked.
That's so funny. I mean, yeah, modern problems require
What's
modern
the name of that
solutions.
dude that like
Oh,
got the lightning?
I forget.
His kite
I forget what
shot.
his name is.
What's
No,
his name?
Thomas
Something
Edison. I
Lincoln?
thought it
Thomas
was.
Edison?
No,
Wait,
Was
let
that him?
me look this up.
Thomas Edison. No.
Clearly, none of us learned our
Was
history
it?
very
No, that's
well.
not his. Benjamin
It
Franklin. No, Benjamin Franklin, dude.
What? No way.
Yeah.
Look it
I'm
up.
looking it
Look
up.
it up right now.
No. It's like the whole like he had like the kite out with the key attached. It's
Hold on,
such
I'm
a
looking this
classic
up.
story.
No, Thomas Edison invented the light bulb. You're
Oh
right.
yeah, no,
It's
it
not
was.
him.
It was.
No, I didn't say light bulb. I said the guy who got shocked by light.
Yeah, that's
No,
why
yeah, it
I'm
was
wrong.
Benjamin Franklin.
Because for some reason I
No, I
just
was
jumped
right.
to that. That's great. Isn't that the dude on the
Told
dollar?
you.
It really was him. That's so weird.
What?
What'd you say, Sid?
Like, isn't that the dude on, like, the $100 bill?
Yes. Did you take history class and any gift points?
Yeah, but I don't remember any of that.
You all right, fam? Over there?
Like, Abraham Lincoln is on the penny. Benjamin Franklin is on the $100 bill. Do I really need to know anything else?
I mean, honestly, it's really interesting that you would mention $100 bills because I come into contact with those way more than I have a year ago. And
Same.
That's really interesting. But because I have to check $100 bills for.
I will say.
They literally like put us
go ahead.
through training to like identify counterfeit bills, and I was like, I didn't even know half this stuff was like in here.
Oh
That's really
yeah,
interesting.
it was really interesting. They kind of taught me how to find them, but I didn't really know. And just some random lady, because I work retail. For people who don't know, I work at Target or whatever. And this one lady comes through my lane, and she notices that I'm kind of like looking at the bill, and I'm kind of like and she could tell I had no idea what I was doing. And she came up to me, and she actually like walked me through it. She I guess she works at one of those like jewelry stores or whatever.
Oh.
Because they're gonna be getting like larger bills. They're gonna be getting like counterfeit bills. So she's like, yeah, I know this from the back of my hand. So she actually like taught me like the little numbers you look for when you throw it up to the light, the little bar that they have now. Feeling for the texture kind of thing, like the kind of paper they're made out of, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
They also have the little, if you hold it up to the light, it has the like
The face.
drawing of the face that's on
that
the
too.
bill, which is really interesting.
It's pretty baller.
I think that's how I check them most of the time. Like I look for, because the newer ones have the strip, so you can like feel the strip and feel that it's like real, and then you have the texture of the paper. But I also always hold it up to the light to see if the tinier version of the face is on there. And customers get like, they either get like low-key offended or they start making jokes, but it's like, I have to check this because they count my drawer like before I clock out, and if too much is missing, I'm in trouble. So like I have to make sure that these aren't counterfeit bills. Like it's not personal, I promise.
Yeah, like I also work at a big box retail chain store, and like every time they'll hand me 20s, and we have to check everything that's $20 and up. So I'll be holding up a 20, and they'll either be like, it's just a 20, or they'll be like, oh, it should be fine, I just printed it. And like either way, I'm like, haha, go to jail. Like
I get the I just printed it joke a lot. And I'm like, please.
But like the good thing about handling all that money was like, up until I have had that job, which I still have for now, but I used to get very nervous if I had to hold a large volume of money, because like the knowledge of the value of the money in my hands would make me very excited, which made me very jittery. So I'd always be like very nervous and jittery if I had a lot of money in my hands. You know what, leave me alone. But also like now I'm like, yeah, I'm casually holding $600 in ones. Like it just doesn't, it'd be like that. Yeah. And they stick. Yeah. Yeah. We really ran the gamut. I mean, you probably should. That's probably the best way to approach that. Yeah, we really ran the gamut of every possible topic that we could discuss
We
on
did.
this particular podcast. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
pleased with it. Yeah. All right, chill. Is there anything that anyone wants to say before we call it? Oh yeah.
I want Jamm on the team, and that was basically like, because like I didn't really know. I think we were mutuals, but I don't think I really knew you at all before this. Yeah. But yeah, I just pulled in a lot of people. Like a lot of people I already knew, but some people I was like, you're good at art, let's go. But yeah.
And we appreciate
Yeah, all
you.
the work that you've we appreciate you. All the work that you've done so far has been super great, TBH. So yeah. Yee.
All right.
But yeah, I guess we
Let's
should
call it.
we should end that
Thank
here.
you guys
because we're kind
so
of
much for
dragging.
watching, as well as thank all of our lovely guests for being here. I'm not sure if guest is the right
You're
word to
welcome.
use, but it is the word that I'm using.
Participants.
Yeah, that's a good
I
one.
don't know.
If you enjoyed the video, or you didn't enjoy the video, or you think that we had some really smooth brain takes, go ahead and leave that in the comments, but like the video anyway. Go ahead and subscribe if you want to see more of this, as well as the general animation stuff that we're going to be putting out, and also podcast highlights is something that I would like to do. So if any of that interests you, hit the subscribe button, friggin' drop it like it's hot on the notification bell. I guess we'll see you guys.
Can we get 5 million
Yeah,
likes?
you know what? All right. We'll see you guys later. Bye, everyone.
Bye.